Hey, I'm Ethan.
Hey, I'm Mike.
I watched the first half of Jackie.
I watched the second half of Jackie.
And this
is the other half.
Yeah, I can talk like this because I have a hole in my head right now. No joke.
No joke. Ethan had to get something removed.
I had a surgery, and I literally have a bandage on my head.
Yes.
So I can do the best.
He looks like
Bobby Kennedy impression. No, not Bobby Kennedy. Fuck.
He got part of his brain removed.
Yeah, that's also the part I forgot. So I got all the Kennedys all mixed up.
Well, actually, that's in keeping with a lot of the Kennedys because I think one of the Kennedys got like a lobotomy. One of the ladies,
Really?
Yeah, I believe one of their sisters got a lobotomy.
Oh my God.
Because she had hysterics.
What a family.
Yeah.
What a freaking family.
It's a really fun. It's a fun family.
They call America royalty, and I'm just like, damn, you shouldn't be royal in America at all.
Well, this is what happens to royalty, man. They fuck everything up.
Yeah. And you know what? They still kind of are.
They really are. That was
Yep.
the other thing watching this movie. I'm like,
Fucking
fucking
Bobby.
Kennedys.
God
yeah.
dang Bobby over here producing a fucking weird ass son.
Yeah, exactly. God damn it. God damn you, Bobby. That boy ain't right.
That boy ain't right. Damn it, Bobby. Anyway.
This is for Women's History Month.
Yes.
We're watching a bunch of movies all centered around women, only one of which is directed by a woman.
Yeah, interestingly enough. But they all have the same similar theme of one name.
One name.
So you can kind of predict what the next ones are going to be.
What are they going to be?
But they all have
Forrest Gump?
That's two names.
Judy? I don't know.
Rudy.
Yeah, no.
Tootsie.
There you go.
There you go.
But yeah, so we're going to watch a bunch of movies this month, starting with Jackie.
Yeah.
The story of Jackie Onassis, the wife of John F. Kennedy. Yes, I remember when this movie came out and everyone was like, Natalie Portman is really taking a swing on this voice, and she sure did. I'm kind of glad she did. Off podcast, we were mentioning, Ethan was like, she doesn't really look a lot like Jackie O.
No.
She doesn't, but she does look like her, as I was telling you. If you squint and she's not looking directly at the camera, she kind of looks a little like her, but she really sounds like her.
Yeah.
She does a good job.
I think her
emulating that
mannerisms
voice.
also like get 90% of the way there.
She is good. Like, I don't see her as Natalie Portman, I will say. Like, I
do.
see her. You do?
Yeah.
Okay, well then.
But that's because, I've seen her since Attack of the Clones, kind of.
Oh yeah, you see her and you're like, this is how democracy dies, with thunder supplies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they weren't wrong.
They weren't
Anyway.
wrong. So that's what the movie's about. I was very excited to see this movie because I'd never seen it. I didn't know what the movie was like. I knew what it was about.
Yeah, but you never know with these biographies. We always have the talk of like, is this going to be like when she was born and go through the whole
all
thing,
that kind
or
of
is it going to
shit.
be a moment in time?
And what moment in time was very impactful for Jackie O?
What
Yeah.
really was that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's holding her husband's brains in as they got exploded right next to her while she's driving around in
Now,
Texas.
here's the question. Do you think they recreate that in the movie, or do you think they don't?
I think they recreate part of it, but I don't think they do the actual like shooting part.
Okay, got it.
Why?
I'm just wondering what you think, because like I had no idea what to expect from this
Yeah.
movie, right? And I got the last half, and clearly it doesn't happen in your half. So would it happen in the end of the movie? Would they show like brain splattering everywhere and shit?
No.
And
I mean, it
skull?
happens. I mean, I feel like it happens in my half, but they don't show it. So I was
Right.
like, maybe they go.
How does it happen, but they don't show it? Like just so audio, and you see like
No, you just
Jackie
show
in the
After
car,
Effect and stuff.
Jackie in the car driving away?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, she's driving. she's off at the front.
Get out of the way!
Get out of the way!
I gotta get out of here.
I gotta get my husband back
Jackie,
to the hospital.
We gotta get him to the hospital.
I gotta get my husband to the hospital, and I sound just like him now.
I am a robot.
God.
So
Sorry,
yeah,
my head's busted. I don't know how
it's
to
okay.
speak.
It's all right. You can make these kinds of jokes.
Exactly.
Because you got a hole in your head.
I got a hole in my head right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I lived.
You lived. Unlike.
I lived, bitch.
It was.
It was a little less than a bullet I took, but
Aside, whenever I like think about this too, I always think about Bubba Hotep.
Oh yeah.
Where like they took his brain and they put it into the body of a black man, and he's just like, I'm totally JFK. It's my brain in this body.
I gotta watch that movie again.
That movie fucking rocks. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It's been a very long
it's been a long time
since
since I've seen it. I don't know if it really holds up, but
I mean, it's
fucking weird.
It's Bruce Campbell doing his best Elvis. So how bad could it be?
That's true.
But yeah, but that's not that. This is the movie we're talking about. We're talking about Jackie. It's a very.
So how much did you know about like the whole Kennedy assassination? Were you like obsessed with it? Or you
yeah, I'd seen the Zapruder film a ton of times. I mean, I played the fucking JFK Reloaded video game back in the day.
Man.
I was obsessed. Yeah, man. I was all in because I was like, I never believed in the conspiracies, but I found the conspiracies to be
fun,
like
right?
fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you're far enough removed from them now. It's like
100%. Well, that was the crazy thing when I was watching this movie is like it all takes place within like hours of the assassination, basically. And it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ, like this is so scary and horrifying. It's like, man, if you know, high school like shit me were to watch this movie, I don't know if I would like really accept the gravity of like, you know.
I think you have to be a little bit older to understand that. And I also think that like something about this movie is I was trying to wrestle with kind of like what the movie was really trying to deal with, and I think a lot of it is honestly just it almost comes from I would say almost maybe a little sexist in some ways of just being like, her husband's gone, where does she find her place now? But that is a real thing to actually worry about when you're like, where's your place? And you were literally the first lady. Now you had that stripped away from you. You've had your support system stripped away.
Yeah.
Your husband who you loved. And people are looking to you as kind of like casting not only your husband aside, but you aside as well.
This is what I was going to say. Is I kind of agree with you a little bit, but I will say one, I think Natalie Portman does a good enough job of giving Jackie a sense of like power and agency and like passion, which is good. She doesn't feel like she's rolling over and taking what's basically happening in front of her in the face of great fear and adversity and like uncertainty. Yeah. But the other thing, and I think this is something that I truly didn't really consider until I watched the movie, which honestly makes me feel like a bad person, is when this happened, she lost her husband in a very violent way. She lost her job.
Yep.
She lost her home.
Yep.
She lost a lot of her friends, people that she considered family. She lost all of that the minute the fucking bullet went in her husband's brain, you know? Yeah. And it's like, you know, sometimes you lose your husband and you stay in the household that you raise the kids in.
The friends are still going to come by, bring casseroles, whatever.
You don't lose your job. Like you're given some time, some leave, and then eventually you go back to work. Like, everything is everything's taken from her. Absolutely. She has to lose so much more than just her husband. That's the thing
is like, I mean, I knew this was going to be kind of sad. It was fucking sad.
It's really fucking sad.
It's such a hard watch because it just shows how much grief she's going through and everything.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing too, is like she says, at least in my half of the movie, I don't know how much of this is like fictionalized, but she says, and this is, I mean, it's not, you know, it's like, this was a sexist time in general, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, I think she was a situation where she was just like, I fell in love with a guy. He was attractive. He just happened to become the president of the United States after I married him. You know, it's like it's not like she wanted to be the first lady. You know, it's not like you marry someone and you're like, I'm going to be the first lady of the United States, and my husband is going to get murdered.
It's definitely like a job that's like, here's a job for a wife.
No,
right?
100%. Here's a job for here's a job for the, especially at the time. Yeah, here's a job for the wife. So, but it's like, but even then, it's like it's not a job she even wanted to accept. She probably just wanted to be his wife.
Yeah, and they don't want to be like first lady, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's really shown through, they go through a whole thing where she restored the White House because she didn't like how it looked. And how it was kind of in disrepair, and there's a lot of artifacts that were just kind of thrown away. So they have a whole thing where, and this happened where she was basically went on the nightly news and was explaining like, oh, you know, I restored this and all this stuff. And it's like, she probably didn't want to have to do all that. Like, but she felt like she should have. But
yeah, well, that's the other thing the movie is definitely in, and this is something I found very interesting, is the movie's also, there's a constant talk, particularly from Bobby, about like, we were in power for 2 years. What did we accomplish? Like, what is going to be our legacy? You know, they're in a White House full of all of these great presidents. They constantly talk about like how Lincoln, you know, did all this great stuff within his presidency, and he's like, we started the Cuban Missile Crisis and we ended the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's like, what did we really do with our time here? Right? Yeah. How will history look back on us?
Yeah.
We are the pretty beautiful people that wound up running the office for 2 years. Then we gave it over to LBJ, basically. And I mean, it's not necessarily like the most glamorous thing, but yeah, it sounds like Jackie was kind of there, like repairing the White House, like, you know, preserving the history of something, you know, that's something.
totally. Yeah. She's definitely doing stuff for sure. Like but I don't know if she wanted to.
No,
right?
no,
like,
definitely
not.
Just
kind of like forced upon her.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's start with the opening of this movie.
Oh, what is the opening of the movie?
The opening of the movie
her in the car?
No, it's her walking around looking just despondent as hell. In Massachusetts, 1943. And I'm like, okay, well, the assassination happened then. Didn't say what month, though. So I'm like,
could it be before or after?
Yeah. But it seems like a journalist shows up. I don't know his name. I don't think they ever mentioned his name.
They never mentioned his name. I called him Dr. Manhattan.
Is that the actor?
Yeah.
No, I didn't
It's the actor Dr. Manhattan. Oh, you didn't recognize him because he had his pants on.
Yeah.
He was all blue.
I was waiting for that blue dick to pop out. Yeah. Then I would have known.
Kennedy,
what do you think of this?
I'm like, oh, wow. You're so big, Mr. Manhattan.
Thank you. I'm a reporter. I don't care about any humans on here. I'm going to go live on Mars now. Bye.
I knew your husband was going to die. I could see all of history.
And I did nothing about it.
Nothing about it. Could have turned the bullets into flowers. Didn't do shit. Anyway. So he's just the journalist.
Yeah. He's like, oh, well, I was able to come up. Candy. It's like, it's just been 1 week, she says.
It's been
1 week since my husband died. Since Blaine's around my dress.
It's been 1 week since the dead Kennedy.
It'll be next week. Wait for another one. So, he's like, sorry, it's been 1 week. They treat him like a dusty old artifact. And she's like, letting him know, like, you realize I'll be editing this conversation.
I truly didn't realize it had been a week since the event.
Yeah, so very quick, very soon.
Yeah.
So if I didn't say exactly what I mean to you, journalist, like, this, so he's like, well, I mean, so this would be your own version of what happened. That's fine. We can do that. And then she says, like, I thought it was just another backfire. Like, I didn't realize what it actually was.
Right. She thought it was just a car backfire.
Saying, like, I thank God I was with him. And then she starts, she's spoken the whole time being like, crazy's history when something's written down. I've been reading a lot of history books. People don't realize that I have a lot of time to read books, but I read a lot of books, and, we always think that, like, what's written down is true, but, like, how do you know that now? And the journalist is like, well, I think that's the best we have. And she's like, not anymore. We have television now. People can see it with their own eyes. And I'm like,
fake news.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention real quick before we get into the story as well.
Yeah.
Gorgeously shot.
Yeah, I really like the way this movie looks.
Color, like the film stock they're using, like it really feels like it's shot like in the time period. And they do a lot. I don't know if near after the movie it is, but they do a lot of like actually showing like footage of like the historical events as much as possible. They try to intercut historical footage to like the footage they've shot for the movie. In my half of the movie,
are you sure that's not just footage they shot and then they?
No, because they show like wide shots, and because I'm seeing it on like a high resolution screen, I can see that's the real Bobby Kennedy and not the actor playing Bobby Kennedy.
Okay, got it.
So like during, for instance, the processional after he's dead, they have like obvious shot, like historical shots. They also do this really cool thing where like Jackie's in a car and she's looking out the window, and then the reflection in the window is archival footage. So it's like it puts her in the space. So I don't know. It really puts you in the time that the movie is set in. It's really gorgeous.
Well, I was gonna say they cut to actually like that television scene I was talking about.
Oh yes,
multiple times.
You're talking about the black and white thing.
Black and white thing, and I was like, that's shot modern day, and they
totally
made it look old school, but they did a really good job making it look that, and like the way the sounds and the way the mic sound exactly. Yeah, it sounded shitty. Anyway, but it does it's funny because he's like mentioned, he's like, oh, I saw that broadcast you did with the in the White House, and I saw you're really good, and you could be a broadcaster you want to. And she's just like, are you giving me advice?
You should smile more.
And he's like, no, I'm not giving you advice. I'm just saying you're like really good at being a broadcaster.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I'm definitely not going to do television after this. Whatever you say. And he's like, okay. So she's being a real hard interview.
I mean, your husband died a week ago.
Yeah, I also understandable. And I think he's kind of letting her just do whatever. He's not being a dick about it. He's just like, okay, cool. I'm just walking on eggshells here. Interviewing anyone who like had someone pass away recently, and then on top of that, it's like someone who is like
the president of the United States.
Yeah. It's like, what a crazy interview that must have been.
Truly.
Anyway, we cut to her being like, welcome to the people's home. It's 1961. You can see everything. And the announcer's like, she's the third youngest wife to live in the White House. So he's presenting the restoration process she did. And it's funny because I think she's actually really bad at this. Like, she's really bad at presenting things.
Oh, talking on
She has to
camera?
be told everything.
Right.
And be like, you should say this. You should say the people's house, not your house. Like, make it feel more welcome. And she's like, okay, I could say that. And you know who's telling her all this? Greta Gerwig.
Yeah, Greta Gerwig playing Nancy something. Yeah.
I don't know who she is. But
She's,
yeah.
Greta Gerwig.
That was weird seeing her.
It is. In front of the camera?
In front of the camera?
Yeah, she used to be an actor.
That's crazy.
She's really good in this, too.
Yeah, she's good.
She doesn't do much, but with the stuff that she does, good.
I think she's better directed, though. Just like Ben Stiller.
Yes. I agree with the Ben Stiller comment. Yes.
I guess she's a good actor. No, I just really like her movies a lot. I think her movies are
movies
awesome,
are good.
So I'm I Anyway, she gets told almost everything to say. Yeah, okay. And then she says, saying we didn't find anything before 1902. It seems like everything was thrown away. And then it cuts back to the interview, and the journalist is like, so the people were talking about the restoration process, like wasting taxpayer money. She's like, no, I raised all that money privately. He's like, well, I'm sure the readers like to know what like being a member of your family is like. And she's like, oh, it's amazing. You know, we're like royalty. And he's like, okay, whatever you say. And then she actually enters like a big room in the past where she's exploring the White House. And she's like, oh, you know, we love the arts. We have like a guy, we have good performances here. We have a nice big grand piano. It's beautiful. We have all sorts of artists come in. And the journalist in that interview is like, hey, so do you think the arts are important, or like, why are you just a big fan of the arts? Like, why do you do this? And she's like, oh, I don't really know. That's a complicated question. I don't really know. And then we cut to them all watching someone in the White House playing on the cello.
See, this is interesting, right? She says, like, we don't need books. We have television to tell us what the truth is. And this is a highly edited, curated, like, broadcast, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But also, it doesn't seem like she's rehearsed everything properly, right? Like, she's just kind of like...
Doesn't really know how to respond to certain
I think
things.
that's why she doesn't like the print journalist, right? The print journalist is like, he can edit this to whatever he wants, right?
I had heard that there was a parent, like Jackie understandably was very like protective of her words and would like highly edit a lot of certain like things. Like when they were going back trying to find like evidence or examples of stuff she said, like Natalie Portman found a bunch of like recordings and stuff, and so much of that stuff had been like
chopped up,
censored out and stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Back to present day.
Yes.
I want to know.
Present day, 2025.
Yeah. She's dead. We cut to a gravestone.
No, I'm Bones. I'm finally with Jack.
Finally with Jack up in the great blue. Only my damn RFK Jr. would shut the fuck up. Anyway.
I hope he gets shot in the head.
Just like his dad.
Wasn't his dad, was it?
His dad also got assassinated.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, that's right.
I don't think he was shot in the head, but, you know.
He was assassinated, yeah.
Which is like, damn. Everything works
Nothing
out for the
bad
Kennedy.
ever
Happens to the Kennedys.
Yeah.
Don't remember the quote, but yes.
Yeah.
I want to know if Faith is helping you. And she's like, look, no one cares about that. I know you used to be a reporter, so I know what you want. I used to be a reporter myself. You want a play-by-play of the bullet when it hit my husband's skull. He's like, and then we cut to her speaking in Spanish with her pink outfit on Air Force One, the infamous one. And so I guess she's gonna do a speech in Spanish. And she's like, eventually they get welcome to Dallas. It's a whole overwhelming thing. Her husband's there.
Yes.
My, what a welcome, she says. And
now,
then,
do you see the guy playing JFK?
Yeah.
Okay. He looks a lot like him, right?
Yeah.
This guy, I looked him up on IMDb. He only plays JFK.
That's incredible.
He plays JFK.
He doesn't have any lines, so it doesn't matter if he acts.
Later on in the movie, he does, and it's literally just JFK's recorded lines, and he's mouthing along with it.
Oh my god!
He also played JFK in that Blonde movie that came out with Ana de Armas.
Oh,
because
Atomic Blonde? No,
Blonde. Where she was playing Marilyn Monroe.
Oh,
he played
right.
JFK in that.
I forgot about that movie.
I looked him up on IMDb. JFK. That's all he ever does because he just looks so much like him.
Anyway, we got a niche. Go for it.
Fucking yeah, like balls deep. Like just do JFK.
What would be another good like historical figure to look like exactly like what, Abraham Lincoln? But I feel like Abraham Lincoln's not in that many movies.
No, yeah. At this point, you need someone who they're going to make a lot of movies about.
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Man, what an unfortunate.
We got really depressed just thinking about that.
To really be
hopefully it works out for Sebastian Stan, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So
then cut back to her explaining what it's like having your dead husband in your lap and his brains all over your clothes, and you have to try pushing him back in. Yeah. And she's like, he had such a nice smile on his face, like kind of like a confused look and just like really grim stuff. Yeah. It's like, I knew he was dead as soon as he was, as soon as his brains were laying out everywhere. But like, I thought for a second, like, I don't know, maybe something could happen, but I thought maybe there's a chance. And it's like she goes through this whole thing. Yeah. And then at the end she goes, "Don't think for 1 second I'm going to let you publish that." Mm-hmm. He's like, "Okay." What did the bullet sound like? And she's like, cut to her riding in the motorcade, and she's clearly it's very famous. The guy in the back is like
jumping up on the back.
Jumping down the back, holding him down, and then Jackie's there and they're driving down like it's just an empty area. It's like clearly it happened. Yeah. Then we cut to her wiping the blood off her own face in Air Force One, and she walks out, and President Johnson's fucking sworn in.
LBJ, yeah.
He was taking office as President of the United States while on Air Force One. Didn't even land.
Mm-hmm. Do you recognize the guy that plays LBJ?
No.
He was in... Did you ever see Zodiac?
No.
Did you ever see Fargo?
A long time ago.
He's Margie's husband in Fargo, the one that paints all the the stamps. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, John Carroll Lynch. He's a good guy.
Anyway, so he takes off.
And then Lady Bird is in the movie, too. Lady Bird Johnson's in the movie.
Oh, yeah. That was Greta Gerwig's role.
That was not Greta Gerwig's role. No, it was like that old lady.
She made Lady Bird, of course.
She played Lady Bird.
Yeah.
No, it's that old lady that's like in a bunch, like a character actor old lady that's in everything. Yeah. Good casting. Anyway, sorry. LBJ's sworn in on Air Force One.
Jackie's just like, okay, whatever. I wanted to talk to the Secret Service. Starts asking like the size of the bullet was. We need to have an Irish funeral, like Irish cadets for the funeral. And they're like, "Man, we need you to sneak you out the back door when we land. We can't because like press and stuff." And she's like, "I'm not sneaking out the back door." And it's like, I feel like she's trying to grasp some sense of control, some sort of relevance in this situation.
She wants to show people the pain that she's going through, right? Yeah.
She says, "I will go out the usual way, and it's fine." And they're like, "Okay, we're gonna have to go to the hospital do an autopsy." And she's like, "Why?" He's like,
"We know what happened."
And they're like, "It's the law. We have to do it." She's like, "Explain to me the details of an autopsy."
That's the other thing. She keeps asking about all the gritty details about what happened.
Those nitty-gritty details. Yeah. I think it's to get some control back,
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Like, I want to be told everything, man.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Do you want to change before you get off the plane?" She's like, "No." They were wanted posters for Jack, and now I want them to see what they've done. Which I think is a real quote that she did say. So they get off the plane. Bobby's here, Bobby Kennedy. And
you recognize him?
No.
He was in the Green Lantern movie.
Oh, yeah.
He's Hector.
Oh, yeah. I definitely recognize Hector. He's the one with the bulbous head.
Well, did he have the bulbous head in your half the movie? I can't remember. You did, right?
No, he didn't, but I only remember the bulbous head now. I looked it up once. That's who Hector is in my brain. Everything else has been erased.
He's one of those guys whose last name is Sarsgaard, but he's not related to the other Sarsgaards.
Oh, yeah, he's a Skarsgård, but not
a Sarsgaard. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a fake Sarsgaard. But yeah, that's
playing
Bobby.
A fake Kennedy? No,
playing a fake Kennedy. No. Yeah.
Anyway, she's like, "I want the casket to be closed." And he's like, "I don't know if we can do that with the head of state, but okay."
But the casket, obviously, the caskets are going to be closed. You're going to show that
they might repair. It's autopsy or not autopsy. It's taxidermy, dude. Not taxidermy.
Taxidermy. Holy shit!
What do they call when they like they prepare the body? What is it called?
Yeah.
What's it called, Mike?
I don't know.
You act like you know.
I know. I just want to see you flounder.
Why? Why are you doing this to me? I have a hole in my head, Mike. You wouldn't do this to JFK.
I would not do that. Oh, yeah, right. What's that thing? It's not taxidermy.
That's the other thing.
What is it? It's the body. It's
Mike doesn't know either. He's revealing his hand.
Preparing dead bodies.
Mike act like he knew shit.
I don't know shit. Pretending dead body for funeral. Bathing, cleaning, mortician? Dressing. Yeah, mortician.
But what's the actual work when they're done?
Mortician.
Like, I can't think of the name of that for like a body when it's like all laid out, all prepped up.
I know that there's a word for it. It's just
we'll never
preparing
know.
a deceased for burial.
Tell.
Yeah, Google's not even telling me.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Preparation of the deceased for
the
funeral
body's
service.
been all done up.
By
a mortician and looking fancy.
Looking sexy.
They might be able to do some miracles despite his brains laying out everywhere. I don't know.
They're just gonna have him like side,
sleeping on
his side.
Oh no. I can see
she's sleeping.
I can see the mortician just sitting there and being like, "All right,
what do you want me to do with it?
I patched it up so it's not bleeding constantly. I'll just Just turn him over here slowly. There you go. Go to nice sleep. Have a nice sleep, Mr. President.
Just imagine the turnaround time. Just going like, can you repair his skull and get it prepared for an open casket?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
So they say, make sure he makes him look like himself. And then Jackie's like, I had to be a silly little communist. If it was for civil rights, at least it would have meant something.
Yeah.
And then they want a show of grief, Bobby says. She's like, fine. And she gets upset. She goes into the room where they're being operated on, and she gets dragged out. Because I guess they're still trying to save him, but I thought it was like the autopsy room.
Yeah.
That's weird because they did say we're going to lead an autopsy, but it sounds like
there's a lot of confusion.
They tried to, yeah, it was a lot. There's a lot going on in like a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Bobby's like,
also, what if he wasn't dead and they already swore in like LBJ?
So they're sitting in the back of the casket, basically.
I'm still the president. I may have half a brain, but at least I'm no damn commie.
That's exactly what he would say.
Get Marilyn in here.
Oh no, I'm gonna be unfaithful now. Sorry, Jackie.
They try to blow my brains out. Now I'm gonna fuck her brains out.
Blow my load like I blow my head.
I want to see her grasping the hole.
Jackie, hold my head.
Oh no. Yeah, imagine just going like, "Oh shit, I'm alive." Like,
I'm not dead yet.
I'm not dead yet. Anyway, yeah, keep going.
Bobby's upset. It's just like, man, they're blaming Johnson for taking the oath like already before he even landed in Texas. They couldn't wait. That bastard. I hate that guy.
Yeah,
which I guess they did hate each other in real life. So Jackie's in the back with the driver, and she goes up, like, kind of ignores Bobby, like, who gives a shit about your little petty thing?
My husband is dead.
Goes up to the funeral. The driver of the hearse and is like, hey, do you know who McKinley or Garfield was? And the driver's like, I don't know who McKinley was, but Garfield's really funny. He eats lasagna every Monday. So
fucking
funny.
Knew you were gonna make this joke. Tell you one thing, that motherfucker loves lasagna.
and then she turns to the nurse and is like, do you know who McKinley or Garfield was? And she's like, no, I'm a big Normal fan though.
God damn it, I fell for it twice.
Anyway, but yeah, they both don't know who they are. They're like, they're both people who were killed in office. Both presidents killed in office. They don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
But you know who Lincoln is, right?
Everyone knows Lincoln.
And like, oh yeah, he freed the slaves and all that. And she's like, yeah, you do. Okay, Bobby, I need you to get information on Lincoln's funeral because we're gonna have a funeral like his.
Just like his, yeah.
So she's walking around the White House still in her outfit, all bloody and stuff. She gets to the Oval Office, removes her clothes, takes a shower. There's a shot of her with like blood running down her back still. She lays in bed, just smokes a cigarette.
Damn.
And the journalist now, present day, is like, you have to share something personal because people keep asking you for it. She's like, are you afraid I'm going to cry again? He's like, no, I'm afraid you're going to scream, my husband was a great man. And then we cut to, she's learning about Lincoln's funeral. It's a lot. Like, it's a very big funeral, right? Because Lincoln was well loved, right, at the time.
Yeah. And well, loved by about half the country.
He was loved by quite a few people. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So the other half of the country did not like him.
Some of those people living in those parts of the country though really did.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Anyway, yeah, but it's a huge thing going on, and she's like, oh, I could see Jack getting upset with me spending all this money on knickknacks, and he would always spend all the money he wanted to get a vote, but he would never spend it on like buying a nice painting or anything like that. She's like, we got to get this right. We got to get it beautiful. And she tells the guy who's telling her about the funeral, like, hey, do we need to get horse-drawn carriages? Everyone knows that. We need everyone to march with Jack. Everyone's got to be together. And the guy, I don't know who this guy is, but he's just like, I don't think they'll let you parade down the streets right now. Like, you should take the children and just disappear.
Right.
And the world's gone mad.
Yeah, clearly.
And she's like, whatever. Then someone comes in and is like, hey, the kids need to talk to you. And the kids, I guess, no one told them. So,
What would you tell them?
I don't know.
Dad, Dad got shot in the fucking head. Some fucking crazy guy pulled a gun out and shot him in the fucking head. His brains are all over me.
No, I'm saying,
what would you tell the kids?
Someone else would tell the kids. I thought someone else might have told them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Which also is like,
your dad got shot in the fucking head. Your mom is crying and there's blood all over her. Your dad's brains are all over your mom, kids.
They would have some tact. A little bit.
Yeah. Don't go to Texas, kids. Your dad got fucking shot there.
We're avoiding grassy knolls forever.
Yeah.
They asked, like, where? So she comes up. She's like, where's daddy? He's like, well, your daddy went to go see her. This is really sad. Your daddy went to go see your baby brother Patrick in heaven.
Yep. This is the other sad thing about Jackie's story is the
got two
basically unborn kids.
Yeah. Unborn. They're like
No. There were 2 kids that she had. One was a miscarriage. One only lived for a couple hours.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And yeah, she says she can't. They're talking about her Kirk like basically unborn.
They're
basically infants. I'm like, they're like drawing and stuff. I don't know.
I'm like, why are they telling these toddlers about their dead kid? Their dead dad. They don't know anything. No. Jackie had 2 kids before.
Okay.
One basically like died during childbirth, and the other one died after a couple hours. So
got it.
Yeah.
So I said sorry, can't come home. Like he would love to come home, but an evil man told him he can't. And they're just like, okay, and like they're like, we gotta be really strong. So it's an older daughter, you gotta be really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're at kind of like what seems to be like the reading of the funeral, like parts. I don't know, there's like a million funerals, but this seems like the personal one.
Sure.
And like the kid has to run around. The kid's like, the little boy doesn't really know what's going on.
Yeah, he's basically like a baby.
Yeah,
he's basically unborn.
So Bobby has to go grab him a couple times, doesn't understand.
Yeah.
And then they're like talking to Jackie later on. They're like, you're gonna pare down the guest list, right? We can't accommodate all these people. And then Jack pulls Bobby aside and is like, hey, like,
Jack?
I don't know who Jack is.
Okay. Is he who? Describe him.
I don't remember. He was in like this one scene. I never saw him again.
Okay.
So
Does he have slicked back hair and a big nose?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That sounds like him.
Sounds good.
I don't know. He says, we don't know if there are any assassins or if he was working with anyone else. So like, I don't know if we can even like walk around. Like you gotta calm her down, and, like bring her down, make her be a more manageable funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And then, at this point, Jackie's talking about like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. Like, I lost my income. Lincoln's widow died destitute. She had to sell off all her furniture. And then she's like looking around, everything's like, I got to sell some of this furniture. And then I can maybe put my kids through school, like through college. And then I cut back to the old footage of the walkthrough. It's been a long time since we've had that. She goes up to Lincoln's room and it shows that she has found all the pieces that Lincoln's wife sold and put them back in here. And they have like the Gettysburg Address sitting there. It's like this. We're really, really proud of the Lincoln room. We're really excited to have it kind of like back to where it was. Like we have the old bed here. I got them back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jackie's also talking to Bobby. It is like flashing back and forth quite a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth between different timelines.
She's talking to Bobby and is like, I don't mean to upset your mother, but Brookline is no place to bury a president. Even though Mom wants to be buried in the family grave, right? The Kennedys.
Right.
Bobby sighs and looks at her with kind of like, she's got to make this more difficult. She's not a real Kennedy, right?
Right, she's not.
She's not.
She's not a Kennedy at all.
No.
Yeah.
So they arrive at the graveyard and Jackie's kind of walking fast. It's raining, and she's looking, and she says, he can't be buried anywhere. He deserves more. And she looks for a place for him, and she plants the placeholder tombstone there. And Bobby's like, maybe you should talk to the priest. You seem to be going through a lot. And she's like, no, I want to talk to the press. And I'm like, what a choice. You have the choice between a priest and the press,
Yeah, women will literally choose to talk to the press before talking to a therapist.
Yeah, therapy option.
Yeah.
The 60s were a wild time. After that, we're cut back to the reporter, and the reporter is talking to her, and she's talking about like, I don't have a house anymore. Everything was taken away from me. And he's like, what about this house? And she's like, yes, but nothing's ever mine, not to keep anyway. And he's like, well, you threw some really cool parties at the White House, I heard. Like, maybe you can bring some life to a cold house here. She's like, nah, I don't
He's really trying to like pep her up.
He's trying to make her feel better because she seems pretty down.
Yeah,
pretty down for a lot of good reasons.
Understandably, yeah. She probably feels like she can't ever hold on to anything because
No.
the one thing she loved and cared about, one, was taken from her, but also two, cheated on her a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Bobby's trying to talk her out of strolling through the crowds, and she's like, no, this is our last chance. We have to march with him.
Mm-hmm.
And she then goes into her room, puts on the musical song about Camelot.
Yes.
And then gets dressed up with fancy wine and drinks, has one last time, kind of in the
Yeah,
White Sand by the White
party.
House. Yeah. She keeps changing outfits, checking all the prescriptions in the house, jewelry, all sorts of stuff.
Prescriptions?
And then sits in the president's chair and cries.
Oh,
looking
like
at
in the Oval Office?
Yeah, in the Oval Office.
Mm.
What's up with the Camelot? Do you have any insight into
Yeah,
that?
so Camelot is what is usually when people talk about the Kennedy presidency, they refer to it as Camelot because out of this interview that she gave with the press, she mentioned that JFK was a really big fan of like the musical Camelot, which came out around that time. And she mentioned that he really liked the idea of like a knight in shining armor coming and saving the world, and this idea of what Camelot meant, which was people coming and trying to fix things and fighting against oppression and all that kind of stuff.
Is this what Spamalot's a spoof of?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, Spamalot is a spoof of, like the idea of Camelot, but not of like
that specific play.
Yeah,
Got it.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And she goes through this whole thing about she goes through this whole montage of her just kind of going through and having a breakdown, basically.
Yeah, really going through
the
it.
White House, and then she just cuts to the present day, and she says, "How would you write that?" She lights another cigarette and explains that I would know that Jack was always getting better and stronger, and then that's the end of my half.
Yeah. So she mentions this thing about I don't know, maybe our halves just like didn't perfectly align, but she talks a bit about like Jesus, like in the being tempted by the devil, and how Jesus would go out, the temptations of Christ, how he went out in the desert tempted by the devil, but then Jesus would always come. But comparing like Jack to Jesus going out being tempted by women.
Sure.
But how he would always come back to his family, basically. She's reminiscing about the idea that like Jack was tempted, but he always came back. Like even though he clearly did more than just get tempted, he always came back to his family. So the idea of her, this is starting to like really reveal the thing of like Jackie knew. Of course, Jackie knew that he was cheating on her,
This is a problem with young presidents, some young hot presidents.
That's true. Them young hot presidents. None of the old presidents.
Bill Clinton, same thing,
Yeah, he was young and hot.
I mean, he was really young when he got elected.
How young?
I was looking it up because I was looking up like youngest presidents when they're elected. I'll have to pull up the stat, but it was a lot. He was one of the younger ones, which I was surprised by. Yeah,
man. In our lifetime, we went from one of the younger ones to one of the oldest ones.
That's the thing. Two of the old. I mean, the oldest one just got elected.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, Bill Clinton was the third youngest.
How old was he?
46.
Wow, spring chicken.
Spring chicken. Hey, I mean, Kennedy was 43.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know who was the youngest though?
Was it Obama?
Nope.
Really?
Teddy Roosevelt.
Really?
Teddy Roosevelt was 42.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that guy did not look 42.
Yeah, I know. He looked permanently 50.
Yeah. Even when he was
60.
80, he still looked 50.
He never made it. He died when he was 60. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
They really didn't live that long back then.
No, they didn't. No.
So, Jackie meets up with a priest.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting in a car together. The priest is played by John Hurt. Apparently, it was one of his last acting roles.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks fucking old. And she's talking to the priest. And the priest, I don't know why she's talking to this priest. I assumed that it was brought up in your half the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking maybe she just needed someone to talk to.
I think it was just literally like, do you want to go see a priest? And
yeah.
She's like, all right, I'll go do that before I talk to the press.
So she's talking to him. And she pretty much just admits, like, she's like, either I don't believe in God or I hate him. Because it's like either he allowed this awful thing to happen or he doesn't exist and this awful thing happened. And either way, I don't really like the prospects of either one of those things.
Yeah.
And the priest is not being very helpful. The priest is just sort of like, well, that's just the way things are sometimes, God takes and God gives. And she's like, how can God take a father from his children? And then
asking the big questions here, Jackie.
And then he says, well, he sacrificed his only begotten son to die for us.
I heard that story, kids.
And then she says, well, what about two innocent children? Why did they die? Like, because she also had two babies that died basically like in childbirth. She's like, why would they also have to die? Like, why do all these people have to die for why would he allow all this stuff to happen, basically? Like, why also sacrifice 2 innocent children to die as babies, basically, she says. And it's like, I mean, if you're going through all this shit, like, fucking, like, lay it out, man.
Go out for it,
honestly. And like, he doesn't really know how to like handle, like, he doesn't know what to say to that. He's just like, it's pretty rough, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh no, that's the question I keep asking. I really don't have a good answer for it.
And these scenes, I don't know if this stuff happens in your half, but like, these scenes get like closer and closer to their faces until there's finally like a scene where they're literally, it looks like they're about to like kiss, and they're just like talking to each other like this close to each other, like
Fleabag,
what?
Fleabag,
like
right?
Fleabag?
Yeah, season 2 with the hot priest.
Yes, like the hot priest. Except for he's very old. But they're so close to each other. They're so close. And she's so angry and hurt, and he's not giving her fucking anything. And she's like, I have to reckon with who my husband was, because he was a good father, but he also was constantly cheating on me, and he wasn't faithful. But he was a president that cared. Like, I have to reckon with this complicated man, and now he's dead. I don't even know what to do with that, basically. And the priest says, like,
take comfort in those memories.
I can't. They're mixed up with all the others.
And I'm like, that's a good line, though, man. That's really true. It's so good. So she has an assistant read all of the powerful people that are going to be attending her husband's funeral. And it's kind of a good moment because it's another thing of like, how do you reckon the loss of this person? And it's like, look at all the people who want to come to, visit his dead body and basically like celebrate his life, and mourn his death, basically. And it's like all of these like people of state, heads of state, like Charles de Gaulle is going to be there, and like all these like super important people, like, governors and everyone from all over the world is going to miss him.
Everyone.
Then she meets up with Greta Gerwig's there, and I'm like, who's Greta Gerwig? They keep calling her Nancy, and she's got that hair, and I'm like, this isn't Nancy Reagan, is it?
Is it?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It seems like they just like,
Nancy Tuckerman.
Yes, I think they just like go way back, basically. And Nancy's like, she's like, you have the rest of your life ahead of you. Like, this is awful, sure, but you have everything to look forward to. You have all the rest of your life to look forward to. And Jackie's like, what a terrible thing to say.
Whoa. The rest of your life's kind of ass now.
Yeah, so, it's like you have to deal with all of this now. It's so good. Like, this is such a good like representation of someone just really going through it. And again, like, I had no idea what the time span was. Obviously, I knew what event they're talking about, but I'm like, is this like a week later? Is this like, because like even a week later would be like tough. No, this is like hours ago. Like hours ago this happened. So this is all happening in a room separate, basically. They're preparing for the funeral, okay? And then outside of this room, there's LBJ, Lady Bird, Bobby's out there. Everyone else is out in the hallway watching television. And on TV, they have Lee Harvey Oswald. He's being escorted out of jail, put into a car.
I love that like these events are all kind of taking place usually also in kind of the background.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just like the whole Harvey Oswald stuff going on in the back, and Jackie's just like, I don't care about this.
She's not paying attention to any of that, right? And so everyone else is watching Lee Harvey Oswald getting escorted into a cop car to be taken to prison, and he's fucking shot.
Oh wow!
And
I remember that. Yeah.
And they see it. Everyone sees it, and LBJ's like, the world is going to think we're a bunch of barbarians. Like, this is like, and everyone's like, no one tell Jackie. No one tell her that this happened, because it's like, this is going to fucking stress her the fuck out. Like, like there's like nobody tell Jackie that this just happened, because like, if she knows, it's going to make things so much worse.
So crazy to think about.
I know. So, they're all like, don't tell her until the time is right. So, Jackie's off with her kids, dressing them up for the funeral, the moving, JFK's body. And her son is like, why is it my birthday? Is that why I'm wearing party clothes? And she's like, no, honey, it's not your birthday yet. And it's like, he doesn't understand that he's like going to a funeral. And then a Secret Service man comes in, and it's the Secret Service man that was riding on the back of the car that like jumped on the back of the car to like protect her from the bullet. And she's like, I just wanted to ask, I don't remember any of it. Can you please tell me what happened? Like, can you tell me exactly what happened? Like, I want to know from your perspective what was going on. And so he sort of tries to tell her, but he feels like the morbidity of like explaining this to her, basically. And then she's like, that man, Lee Harvey Oswald, can I speak to him? And he's like, I don't think that's a good idea, ma'am. But he doesn't explain why.
Yeah, why he can't talk to him anymore.
But basically, he's just like,
it's still a bad idea.
I don't want you to talk to the guy that shot your fucking husband in the head. But she's like, I want to talk to him. I want to get to know him. I want to speak with him, basically. So then I say, Dr. Manhattan asks her if she should have done more to shield her children from everything. Shield them from, the pain and all that stuff. And like, because here's the other thing, and this is something that they go into a little bit here. So because she is not told that Lee Harvey Oswald was shot, she thinks it's an okay idea to, without the Secret Service protecting your kids, allow them to walk out in the open, right? Like with the whole thing. And it's like, because she doesn't know that there's other possible gunmen out there trying to like out there killing people, like, it makes her look like she was like kind of like stupid to allow her kids to just walk around unattended. Probably should have just kept them protected, kept them away from everything, basically. Yeah. And she's like, what was I like? She's like, because the journalist is basically saying like, most people would not have allowed their kids to be part of that kind of thing. Yeah. And she says, well, most people don't have to make these kinds of decisions hours after their husband got shot in the fucking head, It's
very true.
Yeah, it's like most people don't have most people's husbands aren't the president of the United States, like we were not most people here, I did the best I could with what I did.
It's very true.
She also mentioned, she's like, is this funeral just another campaign for Jack? It's just another campaign stop to the grave. Like she's so upset about this whole idea that there has to be this big elaborate funeral. Now that she knows that Lee Harvey Oswald got shot and all that stuff, she's so upset by all this. And she's like, Bobby, you should have told me about this. You can't control anything. You think you control the world. You think you control the country. You can't. You can't control any of it. It's all out of your control, and you're stupid, and you don't know what you're doing. And you should have told me about Oswald. You should have told me everything. I put my children in danger without knowing what kind of danger there was out there. All this sort of stuff. And Bobby's just like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. Hope I don't get stabbed anytime soon.
And so she's like, after all this, I don't want there to be a big spectacle for the funeral. I don't want a big spectacle. I don't want there to be a big deal. I want to take him in private and secret. I don't want to go out there again, like unattended, like all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff she was saying earlier about, the Lincoln funeral, she's like, I take it all back. I don't want a big thing. Like, I want to be very small. Okay. So we cut back to the priest and Jackie. And the priest is like, let me tell you a parable, Jackie. He says, well, there was one time there was a blind man, and Jesus saw the blind man, and Jesus told everybody, like, that's, everyone's like, what did this blind man do, or what did his parents do that made God make him blind? And Jesus is like, well, God made him blind so that we can see the works of God through him. And then he made the blind man see. And he's like, I think that's what's happened with you, Jackie. I think whatever happened with you, you didn't deserve it. You didn't have it coming. God just feels like, we can have his work can be gotten through you, basically. Okay. And we cut to Jackie. She's just like, this is not what I needed to hear.
Not what I'm feeling right now.
This is not helping me at all. So yeah, and then Jackie considers this whole thing to be a vanity project. She starts talking down to the idea of like spending money to like, restore the White House. She's like, all this was a waste of money, like the work is basically done now. And she's like, what was all this for? Like, we're preserving people. We're preserving all these people.
Well, they actually had a section where someone like came through and was like, what if the next president's wife comes in, hates everything, and throws it out?
Yeah.
Like, that's just a decision I guess they'll make.
Yeah. And so now she's regretting it. She's like, why did I do all this for? Like, for nothing, It's just that you're putting all this work down for something to be taken away by someone else. I think that's just kind of also just the state of politics. That's
too,
the country,
right?
man. Yeah.
Like, you put all this stuff, you work real hard, and then someone comes by and
they fuck it up.
They fuck it up by putting out a bunch of executive orders or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Anyway.
And then, so all this is happening. I remember that her son mentioning, like, is it my birthday today? And she's like, no, it's not your birthday. And I'm like, oh, this stupid kid. He doesn't know when his fucking birthday is. His birthday comes. And she has to, like, go like, happy birthday.
Oh, God.
And she's, like, presenting the cake. Yeah. And it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. This is the saddest shit in the world. It was so hard to watch. Because it's like she's trying to make it happy for her kid. But it's like, this fucking sucks. This sucks so hard. What an awful thing. What an awful, horrible thing to have to go through.
Yep.
And no one else is going to go through with you. Like, you don't even have like a partner to go through it. You know?
Yeah, and there's no one else to really confide in either.
No.
Like, no one else has had anything like this even close to happen to
It's
them.
awful. So Bobby's talking to Jack, and all this time Bobby's been pretty like cagey, like he's not really said very much. And finally he just explodes, and he's like, Lincoln's legacy was freeing the slaves. What's our legacy? Our legacy is wasted. It's wasted potential. He says history is harsh. We look ridiculous. We look stupid. Like, we are going to look stupid in the face of history. Everyone's going to look back on us and see us as stupid, pretty people that did nothing with the time that we had here. And now it's all LBJ. Now LBJ is going to take over and do all the amazing things we hope to do, basically. Which is like, I mean, not untrue. So, and now Jackie's preparing to move out of the White House. And so she's like packing everything away. She picks up like her kids' dolls and tosses them in a box, and it fucking breaks in a million pieces. She's like putting all the clothes away. And then she goes down, she tries to take her ring off, and she cannot remove the wedding ring. It's attached to her finger. She cannot remove it from her fingers.
Legitimately can't.
It's too tight.
Too much salt.
Yeah. And so finally,
all those pretzels.
She was eating too many pretzels.
That was the weird thing. She always had pretzels with her the whole time.
The entire movie, she's
like
eating
while
pretzels.
she's holding her husband's brains, she's like checking out some pretzels.
Jack, no.
He's got such a funny look on his face.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, we didn't mention this before. Imagine every scene, but she's just like eating pretzels, just packing them away. Yeah. So now at this point, Jackie she's decided differently. So she goes to Valenti, the head of the Secret Service, and she's like, okay, dude, you know what? I was wrong. We got to do a full procession. We're going to get everyone together. I go back on it. I know it's last like change of mind, but like, this is what we need to do. I'm doing my job. We need to remember, my husband, and I want to be out there with him, and I want all the heads of state to be there too, to support him, basically. And the head of the Secret Service is like, oh, what if they don't want to do that? Like, what if they're nervous? He's like, Charles de Gaulle, for instance, we got news that there might be a hit on him. Like, what if he doesn't want to like walk down the street? And she's like, well, then I guess he's just gonna have to go in an armored car, and then all the millions of people in the world will see him in like a tank or something. They'll see his cowardice, essentially.
Yeah, it's true.
And so she's like, he's like, what are you doing, Jackie? Like, what are you trying to do here? She's like, I'm just trying to do my job. And she walks off.
So you don't have a job right now, but maybe you do. She still thinks she does.
This is her last job. Her last job is to preserve the legacy of her husband. Yeah. So we now have historical archival footage and new footage intercut showing the funeral procession, which is a spectacle. The journalist refers to it as a spectacle. And she realizes, she's like, people weren't really mourning Jack because they didn't know him. They felt bad for me. They were mourning me. They were mourning my loss. They weren't mourning the loss of their president. They were mourning the loss of my husband, basically, And you see her walking in the middle of the street, and she's like, she admits, she's talking to the priest, and she's like, you know why I did all that? You know why I put myself out there? And she wore like this, black veil and all this stuff and put herself in the middle of the street. She's like, I wasn't brave. I wanted someone to kill me. She's like, I hoped. She's like, ever since that day in Texas, I hoped I would die. I've been praying to God to kill me. And she's like, I put myself out there because if there was going to be someone I wanted to see Jack again. I didn't want to be alive anymore. And she's like, I can't kill myself. Like, she's like, that's for cowards. That's for weak people. I'm not going to kill myself, but I don't want to be around anymore. And she's like, that's why I did that. That's why I made a spectacle. She's like, I wanted to die. I did not want to be around anymore. Which is really shocking and horrifying, but also very like real and like, I don't know. She's like, I hope somebody shot me. And she says, I never wanted fame. I just became a Kennedy. Like, I never wanted to be the first lady. I just was his wife, basically. I didn't want any of this. And then she says, I've been telling everyone I didn't remember anything. And I kept saying I didn't remember that. But I do. I remember every detail. And then they hard cut. And we see her from her perspective in the car. So we're facing her. And she says, I thought it was just like a car. I heard something. And it sounded like a gunshot. And you just see like one little bit of like blood. And then you see like JFK sort of like leaning down and like feeling the back of his neck. And then brains everywhere.
Jeez.
You see it. You see it all. You see his fucking head just get fucking annihilated. Just brains, blood, in full view. Like it is grotesque, it is terrifying, and it puts you in her spot. It puts you in her seat, and it's just
because I mean a lot of people have seen the video footage, right? But it's like so far away.
It's so far away. It's shaky. Yeah, we are close up, and we are in her perspective. I mean, we're not. It's not her point of view. It's like she is in the center of frame.
Right.
Where you're seeing her reaction to everything, and we see her like confusion, and then we see her realization, and we see her horror, and we see her like unable to really understand what is happening. She mentions how she did try to stop the bleeding, but it wouldn't stop, and how she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't know what to do. And you see her just sort of like holding her husband's head in the car as they drive off. And then it goes from her being very like quiet and solemn and like in shock, and then she just starts screaming and crying like in the backseat of the car as the blood is like on her and her husband's head is bleeding out in her lap. And they intercut from that to like the actual like footage of the whole thing. They cut from that to her like burying the body and all that kind of stuff in the that whole thing.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's hard to watch.
Yeah,
it was very hard to watch.
It's not a really fun watch, honestly. Hot take. Not a fun time.
It's not fun to be the first lady of an assassinated president.
No,
yeah,
not
exactly.
great to see your loved one get murdered in front of you.
No,
and have to hold their brain in.
It's horrifying.
And then still have responsibilities.
Yeah, and still have to deal with it all afterwards. It's very horrifying. Not fun. Not fun. And so then we cut back to after all this is happening, after the whole funeral and all that stuff. We cut back to modern day, and she's reading through all of the journalist's notes, just reading through all of them, scratching stuff out, removing things, changing things. And he says, he's like, losing a president is like losing a father, and you were a mother to everyone. You were like the mother to this nation. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes the president is like an abusive father.
Yeah. Seriously.
So then we flash back to Jackie showing off the White House in that archival footage, and she's like, this is this room, and this is what we're going to do here. And then JFK walks in, and they use the archival audio of JFK sort of like interrupting her and talking about her and talking about what she's done to the house and all this stuff. But the camera, we see him talking for a bit, but then the camera lingers over to her. We see her just like listening to him talk, and how she's just sort of like there. Like she's just sort of like letting him talk now.
Yeah.
Like this is all about him basically. And it's sort of a mix of just like, she's like, she felt special for a little bit, but ultimately she didn't really want this anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, this is all for him at this point, and she just has to be there for him.
You get a good wife.
Exactly. And she says, and I wrote down, because this is really what you really get to understand. It's like she lost everything. She lost everything. Everything changed when that happened, basically. It wasn't just losing a husband, it was losing everything. And she talks to during the interview, she mentions the Camelot thing. She says, there won't be another Camelot. Jack had ideals and all this stuff. And then we cut to her and the priest. And the priest says, she tells the priest, she's like, some people just like fairy tales, which implies that maybe she was lying about the whole Camelot thing, that she wanted people to look back on, her husband
Never
fondly.
let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and hold him up as this person with ideals and beliefs and all this stuff, even if it wasn't necessarily true, right? Mm-hmm. And so the priest says to Jackie, he's like, sometimes one of these days every one of us realizes there are no answers, and you either accept it, or you kill yourself, or you stop searching. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, how is this helping anybody, dude?
Therapy really did not exist, and this is your best second option?
Yeah, I know, right? And so then he's like, I'm a priest, but every once in a while, I'll stay up in the middle of the night, and I wonder if this is all there is. I have my own doubts on how everything goes. And he says, but you know what? God knows what our limits are. And he says, every day gets a little easier, and we wake up every morning, and God gives us just enough for us each morning. That's what he says, basically. Mm-hmm. And it seems to help her a little bit. It seems to actually help her get through it all. And I'm like, oh, all right, maybe this priest knows a thing or two, helping her out. Uh-huh. And then he's like, so why did you really bring me here? And she goes, I wanted to talk before you buried the bodies. And so what they're doing is they've uninterred their dead unborn babies, and they're gonna rebury them next to Jack's body. Whoa. And the whole reason she's talking to this priest is the priest is gonna be there to like reinter them next to Jack, basically. Wow. So they have these tiny little caskets, and they just bury them right next to JFK's like grave. and it's so fucking sad.
Damn.
It's so fucking sad. So yeah, he helps bury the babies, and it ends with her trying to recall the good moments, and they play the Camelot song, and it's her looking out the window and seeing all the fashion, because she became a fashion icon at the time, all the people wearing the Jackie O outfits and all that stuff, and we cut to moments of her at the house, the empty house, and good moments of her and her kids like playing in the outside, and it ends with her dancing with Jack. And he's faced away from us, and so we just see her face, you know, and that's the end of the movie. That's the end of Jackie.
So no shots of her second husband?
Nope.
Okay. Got it.
No, just shots of her first husband.
Or dying from lymphoma. Dying from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or anything?
No,
Okay.
no, none of that stuff. It was all, and honestly, I kind of respect just showing like a very small part of her life.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's much better than showing like where did she come from, where did she go, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was sad. It was very sad.
Yeah, this movie's a bummer, man.
Yeah, it really
I mean, I thought it
is.
was a good movie. It was well made. I think
Yes.
it's gorgeously shot. I think it shows an important part of history and really what a part of history that no one really thinks about as much.
Right.
Like, especially later on. Like, this is made in 2016, so like a lot of time has passed since then.
Yeah.
And no one, you know, people know about the JFK assassination. They know about kind of like they see the footage, you see the his wife there.
Right.
But you never know, like, the actual
Getting into the
impacts.
head.
Like, getting into, like, okay, what is it like to lose someone like that? You know, like, this is the last president to be assassinated in office, right?
Right. As of the moment of this
of
recording.
As of so far.
Yeah.
So, like, hearing that, like, having that kind of perspective of it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's a valuable thing to have. I don't think I'm gonna pop this ever on again and be like,
No.
cool. Like, I don't want to see that scene that you described.
It's horrifying. It genuinely, and this is why I asked you at the beginning, because I went and going like, they're not going to show that. They would never.
I didn't think
show
so
that.
either. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't think so either.
They're like, no, that would be too horrifying, and especially like, and if they're going to show it, they're going to obscure it. Like, there's no way we're going to see it up close in person.
Yeah,
like grotesque, bloody.
They really want it to be as raw as hell. They really are just like, we're gonna show.
But they
you
did
exactly.
a right thing where they were like, you have to sit through everything, and then you get to see it at the very
Yeah,
end.
they
You know?
didn't show it in my half, which is where
Yeah.
chronologically would have made sense. But.
Yeah. So I looked up a bit more about this actor who plays JFK. Apparently, he's Danish.
Okay.
And he's the Danish voice of Goku in Dragon Ball Z.
Amazing.
He also voiced Prince Charming in Shrek the Third.
Okay. So he's a voice actor.
So he's mostly a Danish voice actor, but apparently he also just looks like JFK.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
What a great
it's
niche.
really, really weird. Yeah, he lives in England. He's bilingual. But I wonder if the reason why he was voiced over is probably because he doesn't sound anything like JFK. He just kind of looks like him.
Probably. I mean, he
Yeah.
probably has a thick Danish accent.
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
it's like it's hard to do a JFK accent and then imagine
And also a
doing that.
Danish
doing with
accent and a JFK accent seems kind of impossible.
Seems like a pretty hard. I mean, you maybe can do it, but it
Oh.
seems like a tough sell.
I wonder if he's on Cameo and he's just like, you want to talk to JFK?
That'd be crazy.
Guten Tag.
Do you know who?
That's not Danish.
No,
What
it's
am
not
I
Danish.
fucking talking
I
about?
wasn't gonna call you out.
I'm going to call myself out. Fuck that shit.
You know who was like the fifth oldest president?
Who was the fifth oldest?
Before they died?
Who?
John Adams. How'd John Adams live that long? He lived to 90 years old.
He's an old man, you know, and you're upset. That'll keep you away. That'll keep you alive.
I guess
anger
you're
keeps
right.
you alive for a long.
I mean-
he watched like basically all of his family die around him, man.
He
Like,
lived to 90. Yeah.
he saw his kid. I think he saw his kids die and his wife die. Like he was up there, man.
That's rough.
Yeah, it was crazy, and it was hard living back then. He probably didn't want to be alive for that long.
No, probably not. Obviously, Jimmy Carter's the longest.
Yeah,
I
obviously.
was looking, so it's funny because they have on this list on Wikipedia, they have post-presidency time span. So it's like how long did they live until, they died after becoming president. You
Right.
got everyone who was assassinated early, Garfield, Harding,
Right.
McKinley, Kennedy, Roosevelt, and then it says 11 days for Joe Biden. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, that's because he's still alive.
It's still alive,
Yeah, he's
and
still
also
alive.
it's still going.
Still living 11
They're just
days.
gonna update that every single day.
That's crazy. They must
Yeah.
have some code in there that has to update it automatically or something, because that's got to be annoying. And then it says die. It's like, no, he's living. He's still alive.
For now.
For now.
I have a fun fact
Mhm.
if we're talking about presidents and fun facts. So one of the reasons I know a lot of the presidents is because I memorized the Animaniacs song where they
Yeah.
list all the presidents of the United States. And I remember they obviously include JFK. And in there's two different lyrics talking about JFK.
Uh-huh.
So the one I think that's like most famous is John Kennedy had Camelot, then Lyndon Johnson took his spot. That's like the normal.
I always wonder why they said Camelot in that line. Yeah,
that's why, because of this. But I remember a version where they say John F. Kennedy, he got shot, so Lyndon Johnson takes his spot.
Are you sure that's a real version?
I think it is.
Or were you just like, you just heard it wrong, and you're like, I don't know about Camelot.
I can hear Camelot and he got shot as like different things.
And weird cartoon voices? Maybe.
I
don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they have two different versions of that. Yeah. But anyway, that's my fun fact for the movie. I'm telling you about the guy who played JFK, who's apparently a Denmark dude, and the lyrics to the Animaniacs.
And I expected nothing less from bringing you on this podcast to talk about Jackie.
If we can find it, maybe we'll end the episode with a clip from it.
Maybe we will.
Yeah. Guys, were you assassinated while president? Email us, nearlytherapodcast.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We're also on Blue Sky, and we also have a Discord. Check us out on Discord. And if you want to listen to our previous episodes, or if you want to check our future episodes for Women's History Month, you can find them on any podcatching app. And while you're there, please leave a 5-star rating and review. We will read it on the show, no matter what it says, even if it is poking fun at the JFK assassination.
Oh, God. He was the youngest person the youngest president
to die?
To die.
Well, not a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was young when he started and young when he died, I guess.
Yeah. He's also the very first Catholic president. That I know.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What was everyone else?
Christian.
Protestant?
Yeah.
No.
He was the only Catholic president. And it was a big deal when he won because...
You're right, it was.
Yeah, and it was a big deal. He had to talk to he had to talk to everyone. He had to be like, "Oh, I know I'm a Catholic, but it's because of where I'm from."
Okay.
It was a whole thing. It was
wow, that's
a
crazy.
big deal.
All right, I'm going to sleep on that fact. Call me when we have a Muslim president. Okay?
Well, we did. Obama.
Oh no!
JK, good night, everybody. JK.
JFK.
Got the power from 53 to 61. John F. Kennedy, he gets shot, so Lyndon Johnson takes his spot. Richard Nixon, he gets caught.
Hey, I'm Ethan.
Hey, I am Mike. No, we're not gonna do that. I immediately regretted it. Okay, take it back.